We gonna make it. Boxing King Media powered by BYD. It's Monday morning and it could only mean one thing. It's the weekly sermon with Gareth A. Davies. Gareth, how you doing?
I'm very well, Boxing King Media. How are you? It's been a while on Zoom, isn't it?
He has me. I think we've been all over the world between us and we're finally back home and found some time to catch up. How's things? Everything good? Your hair looks a
Yeah,
bit rough
I'm
today,
really
Gareth.
well. I'm just getting all the ducks in a row. It's going to be a really busy year. The fights are coming and events are coming thick and fast, and just trying to stay on top of it all, really, and just get ducks in a row and get the schedule sorted out in the diary and just know where we're going, where we're going to be. We're all over the place this year.
You been in the sea? Because your hair looks a bit rough.
No, I haven't been in the sea. I'm going in the pool in a bit, swim, but it's just been a bit wild today. God knows why.
Well, I think one of the things, there is a certain amount of people are listening to these interviews that we do, and
Oh no,
they're
not
look,
the questions from the listeners or the
yeah, a
view.
lot of questions, a lot of statements this time as well. And I think
Okay.
mainly on the back end of your back and forth with Johnny Fisher. I think because of the Fisher Allen fight, there was a lot of opinions and thoughts and comments about you. So it's only fair that we go through them, Gareth.
Go on then. Go on then.
Like I said, some of these are statements, some are questions. So I don't know what this means, but Gareth is definitely a leopard roadie. I've got no idea what that means.
A Def Leppard roadie. Def Leppard's a band, isn't it? It's a rock band.
Is it?
Yeah, and a roadie's someone that carries all their musical equipment around. I'm definitely not a Def Leppard roadie, but I'm sure it'd have been a hell of a lot of fun.
Okay. Like I said, no, that's good
Sex, drugs,
education.
and rock and roll, basically.
Yep. If that's from Robert Hayes. And then Lucas says, people dislike you because you're a psychopath to whoever is a cash cow fighter.
Sycophant.
Is that what you say? Sycophant.
Sycophant. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not at all. And that's borne out with what happened with Big John Fisher. But look, I stick to my guns on my views. I don't mind being corrected if I'm wrong, but I'm not a sycophant. But I am what I am. A sycophant is someone that sucks up to someone else and kind of doesn't doesn't give their opinion on them. I do give my opinion on people and fighters, but
Or
I'm
as
not.
we saw with the Fishers recently.
Yeah, but I just don't go in very hard. Don't go in very cruelly. It's a very tough, very sensitive game, and I do want the best for all the fighters. And you know how you deem, which is what the Fishers were on about, or certainly Big John Fisher, how you deem what friendship is with fighters. You have friendships with fighters and trainers, but we're working with them. So sometimes you have to give a strong opinion or an honest opinion or a gauged opinion, or certainly don't believe in kicking people when they're down. And I don't think I did that with Johnny Fisher. I just thought that Dave Allen clearly won the fight, and that's all I expressed. And then Big John was brought in front of me unexpectedly, and I asked him a serious question, which was, "Do you really think your son won that fight?" And he's his dad, so he's fully entitled to have that feeling. Very emotional process for a parent involved in boxing. It always has been.
Right.
But yeah, more statements, please. They're
Okay.
wrong.
Okay,
He's wrong.
this is a good one from Sean. I think Gareth takes all the aggro in good jest. He's a really experienced journalist and has never been bitter about the YouTube channels, which is refreshing. He seems a decent fella too.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for that comment. I am in favour of the YouTube channels. They're like the tabloid newspapers of today. Um, well, I mean, even you do documentaries sometimes, so you do deeper dives with people. Yeah, thank you for the compliment. I really appreciate it. And I am a long-standing journalist in the game, and I still love it as much. I have a great passion for it.
And thank
And
you.
as you know, because I spend time around you and the new group working, newish group working in boxing, I enjoy you all. We all get on very well, don't we? You know?
Indeed, and thank you for pointing out that we do different stuff. Gareth, the Saxondale of boxing. What does that mean?
Is that about Alan Partridge? Is that a Steve Coogan character maybe?
No idea.
I think it's just maybe a Steve Coogan character, like
Okay.
bushy hair, mad character, something like that. Bit deluded.
Right, here's another one for you. The only thing that bothers me is the fact that he doesn't dress age appropriate. Just my opinion. That's from Lightning Bolts.
Well, as Lightning Bolt sent a picture of himself.
No.
Well, yeah, well, we need to judge what he looks like first of all. Absolute nonsense. Dress my age. What is there? What rules are there about dressing whatever age? I just dress as me. That's it.
Yeah, it's a fair comment. How can you label someone for dressing a certain like who says what's the right way to dress for any age?
Exactly, exactly. I mean, they wore black shirts in the 60s when I was born, and in the 70s when I was born. They wore long jackets that I wear. I buy jackets from German Street.
Yeah.
That's okay. I wear tight cargo pants. I wear boots. Like, what should I be wearing then? What's the name of this guy? Lightning Bolts.
Yeah, I
Well,
think
maybe we get a reply from Lightning Bolts after this interview. What what should I be wearing? What could I be wearing that would keep Lightning Bolts happy? He doesn't even put his real name on there.
that's a
So
fair comment.
let's be name appropriate when you actually make a comment. Let's know who that comment's coming from, because otherwise, sir, you are a troll.
Right. Joey says Gareth is the type of guy he only fastens the bottom four buttons of his of his shirt. He just needs a gold medallion to complete the look.
No, I wear silver. One, two, three, four. You're correct. I've undone one to make you correct. Four buttons done up. Yeah. Very, very good. But no gold for me. I'm a silver guy. You're
Um,
enjoying this morning. Are we nearly done?
no, there's quite. I'm gonna fly through them, so give me some
No,
quick.
no, no. But should we just do this morning and then I can get on my way?
Yeah, that might be an idea. There'll be a few people that are just tuning in for this. To be fair, I know a lot of the boxers listen to this segment and they love it. I'm not going to name who they are. Um, Cyber Chatbox says, "I'm no way a fan of Gad, one of the guys that usually gives him stick, but I back him 100% on Usyk and Allen. Gareth is finally telling us what he really thinks. I'm not trying to keep everyone happy. I can respect the guy, if even if I don't agree with him. Keep it up, Gareth."
I think he means Fisher and Allen, doesn't he?
Probably, yeah.
But
Uh,
thank you for that.
Okay, what else we got? Gareth will jump on the next popular boxer and lick his bleep bleep. That's all he
Now, let me say something about this, right?
done.
My job is to document, interview, project, hype in a certain sense, critique the new stars coming through. It's what I do. I do it on radio, television, and newspaper. So you might point to say Moses Taumer. I've already been to see down in the gym in Bromley this year to do. I've got an interview out on my YouTube channel with him. I did an interview with him for the Telegraph. Played out some of the audio, I think, on Talksport. He's a fascinating character at just 20 years old. Of course, I'm going to go and study and interview all the stars. It's just in the process of what job you do. That's you fail to understand what this job is, in my view.
Fair play. We all love you. You are the most charismatic journalist in boxing. Boxing needs you. And that's from, I can't really say his name, Begus. Maybe Begus.
That's a very kind comment. I mean, I thought there was going to be a but there for a minute, but it's very kind indeed. And I love bumping into fans and talking boxing and being involved in the milieu and like I've already said about being involved with you guys and doing these interviews, which you know it's always good fun to to chew the fat with you. You ask very intelligent questions. You dig deep yourself. You're even like you say you've even stretched into going into documentarian work, and you've got your your million subscriber
Plaque.
plaque, haven't you already?
Yep, I got two more for you, Gareth. One positive and one negative one.
Oh dear.
Motorbikes and things says man's a slime ball and can't answer quick fire questions and a big rimmer.
Man's entitled to his opinion, but he's probably a bigger rimmer than I am.
Okay, this is the last one. Uh, I can't really say the name because it's like unknown. It's weird. It's just not. It's not a name basically. Met
It's an
Gareth.
algorithm.
Yeah, so I met Gareth in Dubai the other month. Absolute gent. Thank you for the chat and drink. You've been buying drinks for fans.
Well, I probably bought him a drink or he bought me one. What's his? Who was that?
PD dot P dot.
Wonder where I met him.
I hope you were sober, Gareth. Um,
I had a week off and a week working there, so oh, that's a very kind comment. No, very interesting comments. See, you have the whole spectrum of people and what their views are. That's our sport. That's life.
it is. We'll move on because we're going to be getting a lot of shit for rambling on about fans.
Oh,
But
nothing starts to 25 minutes.
yeah, but this will be time stamped so people can hopefully skip that bit if you don't want to watch it. So the first thing I want to speak to you about, Gareth, is Robert Helenius. Did you know his case has been concluded now?
No, I didn't. Go on.
Okay, so he obviously tested for clomiphene in the build up to the Anthony Joshua fight, and his defense was that he ate contaminated eggs and chicken, but he was unable to provide any proof of this, and he basically left it with them. He said that was it, and he got a 2 year ban.
Wow. Okay. No evidence.
Yeah, but that was his reasoning behind it. Um,
Funny, I was sitting with Robert Helenius when he said, if I cheated in my country, I'd literally be ostracized the day before he fought Anthony Joshua, or Thursday or Friday of Media Week. And you just would never have believed that he'd put it in a system. But, like I said, he has taken contaminated. He doesn't look like a guy that's taken steroids, does he? You know?
yeah. And then the reason I brought that up was because I spoke to Dom Ingle the other day and we spoke about the Dennis McCann case. Have you seen the drugs that he fell for? So apparently, I'm no expert, but apparently they're bodybuilding drugs. And according to Dom, he potentially could get worst case scenario 4 years for each drug. Is that true?
I don't know about 4 years. I think 4 years, if you're found guilty, is the normal kind of strict
Yeah.
liability punishment.
Yeah.
But
According to Dom, it's
I've
four
never
years.
heard anyone 8 years. That would end his career.
Yeah.
4
Um,
years would be drastic as well.
Yeah. What do you kind of make of that? Obviously, I'm guessing you're no expert on the drugs that he fell for. What do you kind of have you heard any whisperings or any how they're going to be
No, I
looking at
just read the story the other day in the Times by Tom Kershaw, which um, told of the two drugs that were in his system, or um, disclosed the two drugs in the system. I haven't heard any comment from Dennis McCann. He's gone very quiet, gone to ground. And obviously, they're going to the B sample they requested. So presumably they've gone through that now. It's over 12 days ago, isn't it? So the B sample normally takes 12 days, but we've heard nothing more of it, which is probably a sign they're deep in legalese right now. But yeah, it's a very difficult scenario for everyone involved in that. Frank Warren's not talking about it at the moment. Obviously, he's his fighter. And Dennis has been very quiet.
Yeah. Well, I was looking in on the UCAD website. That's where I got the information from. Did you know about Krzysztof Glowacki when he fought Richard Riakpo? Did you know he failed a test?
No,
I didn't even know that, but it's on the website. So when he fought Richard Riakpo, um, back on January, was it last 2023? He's just received a 4 year ban. Um, and Kamil Sakalowski, he's on a 3 year ban, and Zeloni Tete's got a 4 year ban. And I believe from reading them, the inconsistencies in the punishment are based on if you give some sort of reasoning. So, for example, in Hellenius's situation, he said that he accepts the drugs were in his system, but he's saying it's from eggs and contaminated chicken. So that can apparently reduce your sentence.
Well, I don't know what the evidence has been put forward for Dennis McCann because there's nothing public being made of it at the moment. Frank Warren's not talking about it. Dennis McCann isn't. So they're obviously going about it behind closed doors. It didn't work when Conor Benn, well, it has worked eventually for Conor Benn by him being out there over it all and doing lots of interviews at certain points. But we don't know anything at the moment. I need to go and dig around in it and ask some questions actually, if I to get those kind of answers.
And just the last thing, I don't know if you know this or not. A lot of boxing fans seem to think, failed tests are rife in boxing. But if you look on the UCAD website, guess what? 90% of the failed tests and punishments have been handed out in guess what sport?
Let me just think. I
And I'm
want to say
talking,
rugby.
yeah, correct. 90% the bans carried out. So drug taking's rife in rugby. Would never
Well,
think.
I mean, it's because they're high collision, they're big people, and well, without delving into a can of worms, there. No, I know it's rugby because I do study these things sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a horrible grey cloud over our sport, isn't it? Because even though rugby players are colliding and it's a very dangerous sport, ours is an even more dangerous sport, and so the body being enhanced by those substances is not a good look for either individuals or the sport.
Yep. So let's move on. The other thing I want to speak to you about is Tyson Fury's retirement. It's been a week or so now since he dropped the news on the world. Are you still adamant? Do you think it's the truth, or do you think he's still sat there waiting for this, you know, contract offer and negotiating, etc.?
I think he thinks he's retired right now. I think it was a snap decision. Um, but I also do think he'll be back because they'll tempt him back with enough money for one more walkout, one more event. I think he's only got one fight left, and I think that is Anthony Joshua. I can't see him fighting anyone else. But I think the money on the table, Boxing King Media, will be so great that it might be very, very difficult to avoid it. There's another part of me that thinks he may never come back. But I just think with Tyson, he'll wake up one morning in a couple of weeks' time, want to get back in the gym. By then, Anthony Joshua might have signed a fight. That's the rhythm of those two. Um, because Anthony Joshua won't want to sit around for months and months and months waiting for Tyson Fury to make his mind up on when he's coming back or not. And then that throws into the mix: does he fight a Dillian White? Um, does he fight Deontay Wilder if they bring Deontay Wilder back? Will an African event come up with Martin Bakole? I mean, I think in order of things, White, Wilder, I think he's got to get in the win column before he fights Daniel Dubois next. That's if Fury doesn't come back. Because I'm not sure that Alexander Usyk would fancy fighting Dubois again, even though I'd make him the favourite. Dubois is probably the most dangerous guy to fight in the heavyweight division right now. Maybe Bakole as well, but I think Dubois is just that little bit above him. What do I think? I think Joshua and Fury will happen in the summer, and I think Joshua will want to know before he signs on the dotted line to fight someone else first. But it is a bit difficult for him at the moment, and he's been here before with Tyson Fury, hasn't he?
Indeed. Do you think, Simon Jordan said it on the other day, and I know you corrected him, this 500 million figure. I know His Excellency's come out and said that, that ain't ever happening. What do you think?
Well, it will 70 million each, maybe. Maybe the fight's worth 200 million. It's still an enormous behemoth of a commercial entity as an event here in the UK. A huge event for a crossover event for British sports fans, and it will be watched around the world. They've both come up on the same or similar trajectory for the last decade. They've heralded stadium fights in the country. They've made boxing very attractive and cash rich. That Saudi Arabians would not have come into the sport had it not been for Joshua and Fury. Turkey clearly loves both men, and wants them to get the very best in their lives and their careers. The only thing I was correcting with Simon Jordan the other day was that description of calling them also Wrens. They're much more than that in this era. I think there's no need to put them down in that way. Let's celebrate what they've done, not denigrate what they've done. We have very close access to people in our sport. You can say what you want about footballers and football clubs. They're clubs at the end of the day. They're not individuals putting themselves on the line for themselves, their families, and their sport. It's a very, very different sport, and we talk about our fighters in a different way. Football's a different animal, in my view. That's all. But yeah, it's going to be a fantastic year in terms of what's stretching out ahead of us. There are some amazing fights going to be made and some really big cards. And 2024, and I say it again, the investment of Turkey and the Saudi Arabians has helped boxing, brought promoters together. The only ones that aren't seemingly on board at the moment are Al Heyman and Gervonta Davis. They're the only two really, two individuals, big names in the sport, who don't seem to be doing dealings with him at the moment.
Yep. We've got 3.5 minutes left. There's two quick subjects I want to speak to you about. It's quite an easy answer, basically, but this rehydration clause with Chris Eubank Jr., the £10, is it dangerous or not? Because Adam Cattrall is saying it's dangerous.
Yeah, I kind of agree with him. I was there chatting it through with him. I do agree with that. But again, Conor Benn's coming up 2 weight divisions. I do hope Chris is going to be all right at 170 pounds. It does sway you back to thinking that this is a good fight for Conor Benn, given that also he's had 2.5 years to see Chris Eubank age in that time. And in that time, he's been stopped by Liam Smith, crumpled by Liam Smith in that first fight. It's dangerous. It is dangerous, rehydration limits. Chris Eubank's going to have to look after his body very well going into this camp. And I think Conor Benn will be very dangerous early in this fight, maybe for the first 6 rounds. But after that, I think Eubank may well take over. But it's going to be a very, very close fight, I think. We'll find out when they first step into the ring and now they deal with each other. But yeah, I agree. It is dangerous for him.
Yeah, I'm assuming press conference should be imminent. And the last thing I've got to speak to you about, I know you're big on influencer boxing, Gareth, even you do get a lot of stick for it. But KSI fighting a 44-year-old Wayne Bridge, who I understand has boxed before, but he got the call literally a couple of days before the announcement. What do you make of that?
I don't think Wayne Bridge is a very big name for KSI to fight, and I thought the call out in the ring, the way he did it, was a bit tasteless about, kind of marital affairs and these kind of things. I thought it was a little bit cruel and tasteless. I thought Darren Till looked very good as a boxer, though I expected him on Saturday night. I expected him to beat Anthony Taylor handily. Still think it would have been a close fight with him and Tommy Fury, with Darren Till and Tommy Fury. I don't really. It's like they've plucked a name out of a hat with a storyline for KSI for this one, when there are probably bigger figures out there he could have fought, like a McGregor, like a Conor McGregor, or obviously he wants to fight with Jake Paul, but Jake Paul's a lot bigger than him now. Even though KSI handled Tommy Fury quite well, I thought, in the way that he fought him, in a very unusual Michael Venom Page style. But listen, all boxing, it's all different on different layers and different levels, and there's nothing wrong with having sold out arenas for fights that aren't always elite or real boxing.
Indeed. Gareth, thank you as
And
always.
I do want to see Terence Crawford and Canelo this year.
Yep.
I think it'll be September. It's a tough fight for Terence Crawford, but he's good enough to be able to handle Canelo, but he's going to have to be very active in the fight to win it.
I saw him in London the other day, and he looks like he's put a lot of size on.
Yeah, no, I saw him in Dubai, and he is a lot bigger man. He's 38, remember, he's older than Canelo.
Yeah.
It's a win-win for Crawford, because if he loses, people go, he stepped up to super middle. If he wins, it's amazing. Truckload of cash for both men. The damage to the legacy is the damage to Canelo if he loses the fight.
He gonna make it.